writer, so this probably will be a treat.
Okay, good.
Okay, we
Okay,
live,
okay.
people.
I'll
Yay!
I'll start with the intro. So we're gonna call these segments Three Chicks and Some Books. And today we're gonna be talking about community health with authors and mental health and having author friends around. Today I am Sylvia Hubbard, and I am author of Dark Romance of over 60 books. And then we have the beautiful LaShonda Hoffman and Sabrina Fraser, and they're going to introduce themselves right now. So, LaShonda, you first.
Hello, I'm LaShonda Hoffman. I am a lover of books who turned that into a career. So I do book promotion, and last year I published my first science fiction romance. And these two ladies here have been a blessing to me and pushing me forward and getting me out of my comfort zones. And you need two besties like this.
Aw. And now we have the birthday weekend girly.
Yes, so I'm Sabrina Fraser. Oh Lord, I've been in this game for a long time here. And I normally write edgy inspirational books, but I go mainstream sometime as well. Um, I feel like India Irie in the publishing industry. Like my books are very gender, specific, genre specific. And so
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to all the things we're going to talk about today, because if there are other authors out here who may be doing niche publishing as well, I believe this conversation will help you a lot.
Right. Yeah, it will. And we've always talked about trying to do this like forever. I think we've been saying
Yep.
we're going to do this and just talk, just get somewhere and talk. So let's give ourselves about an hour grace.
Okay.
So we'll go from there. I'm going to start with Sabrina questions first, and then I'll
Okay.
probably throw my questions in as we go along. I'm like, wait a minute, let's talk about this. So we'll start off with the first question, which is, when did a writing bestie help you see something in your work or in yourself that you couldn't see in your own? And we'll start with Lashondra, because she's the newbie, and she's the newbie kind of in the group itself. So we'll start with her.
For me, I'm going to say confidence, because when I first started, I've known Sylvia over 20 some years, and she has always been pushing me off the fence to put my books out there, and I would never do it because I was scared to death. And my my bestie, my editor slash bestie was like, I don't know why you've been waiting so long. You have a good voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? The only other person who ever told me that was my mom. And your mom's supposed to tell you that. And I realized that what she helped me realize was that, as my mom would tell me, LaShonda, they can't read your book unless you finish the book
I
and
know
put it
that's right.
out there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I had to learn to do that. And she helped me a lot. And Miss Sylvia did too, because she pushed me to do Kindavella. And I always say, if I hadn't done Kindavella, I wouldn't be where I am now. Because Kindavella helped me get the thick skin
Mhm.
and believe in myself again. Because I kind of had lost that after. If you've been writing over 20 years and you haven't gotten published in 20 years, you lose yourself. You lose
Yeah.
you lose the confidence that you had when you first started at. I started at 9. So at 40 something, yeah, no, and so you lose that. And your bestie is the person who goes, I believe in you. I believe in
Yes.
you. And these two ladies here have believed in me. Sabrina really probably never. I always tell her this, but when I did the Kindavella, she was one of the readers, and she would just, when I was feeling like nobody's reading this, nobody's saying anything, she would send me just little DMs, and she don't even know, and I would be like, oh my God. Keep believing, LaShonda, it's gonna happen. Keep writing, keep doing, And I was thinking to myself, man, how did she know? But I know that was just God. God was like,
Mhm.
let me send her, and because you need a little encouragement today. And
Mhm.
that's what your besties do. They give you the encouragement that you didn't even know you needed until they send it to you, and then you're crying, going, "Oh."
Yep.
So thank you, Sabrina, and Miss Sylvia. Thank you for always kicking me off the fence.
Okay, Sabrina, you're next. Let's
All
hear
right.
it.
All right. So for me, life has gotten in the way of a lot of my writing. And so what you guys have done for me is to say, okay, yes, life may get off course, things may happen, but keep going back to your first love.
Mhm.
And words and books have always, I mean, I started reading at 3 years old. Like I was so fascinated with these letters on this page and this, the Sunday comics, funny, we call them funny papers. And you guys have been that for me. And again, like LaShawna said, Sylvia, I call her the OG because she is who encouraged me also to get on Kindavella. And I needed to get on there to have that experience, but I needed to get back in the reins. Like whatever life is throwing at you, you need some joy in your life and find the things that bring you joy. And writing was one of the things that brought me joy. And so whether she saw me barely posting online about any of my books, I don't know what prompted her to say, come on, get in here, try it, just see if it'll work. I'm just so glad that I did that. And, I had been writing for so long. Like I remember Sylvia from the old days when we were on Blogspot.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And we were on that blog and I was reading her stuff. And see, here's the thing, you guys. I am not just an author. Like I'm a reader first. And so I read these ladies' books. You know what I'm saying? I don't just, try to encourage them and, be a part of their village and stuff like that. I actually read their stuff. I share their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I see that they have the it factor. And I want more people to know about it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I have to say, kind of like the both of you have kind of like always encouraged me. Sabrina has always encouraged me in terms of writing and staying with like serial writing. And that's always been, once I found that out within myself that I do like serial writing, that's always been like a joy of mine. And then even when people weren't even reading it, or I didn't even know if people were reading it, it's always been like a secret kind of pleasure of mine just to write. Writing stories that just got me excited to want to just jump out of bed and get that next chapter up, And it was so funny because I would release in the morning, and if I didn't release by 9 o'clock, I'd just get all these ugly emails. It'd be so funny. Like threats to my life, or do I have to come up there and things like that. It's like, okay. But I think Sabrina has always been kind of like in my ear saying, oh my God, you got to get to the next one. Or I like how you set this up. So in terms of like keeping me encouraged in that regards of writing, Sabrina has always been there. And LaShawna, I would say she's always encouraged me inside of the technical part of just keeping it going, like no matter what, even when we were homeless, like I would see LaShawna post about things that, okay, are you doing this in your book business? Are you doing this in your book business? And even though at that time when we were homeless, I had nothing to even hold a candle to, I always kind of kept up with my book business because she was kind of encouraging, even though I know she wasn't really talking to me. Everybody always think I got things together. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm on a wing and a prayer. But it's just like both of you guys have encouraged me evenly. And I think it's because of that. Like I see you guys' successes, or even if I don't see you guys, I'm always checking in on, hey, what's going on in your world? And because I kind of want us to all reach the top together. I don't want to be up there by myself. I want us all to be like that. And it's very rare that you find people to stay along with you on a long journey.
Yeah.
And people, I've been in, like y'all said, I've been in this for so long, and I've seen people just drop off and never be seen again. Or even when I go back to them and say, hey, what happened with you doing this? And oh no, girl, I got a divorce, so I just decided to stop everything. Dang, did a man just knock off? I want to know how a man just knocked you off. Like, I don't want to do life no more. But that's what happened, and even LaShawna, because actually, LaShawna and I have known each other since like the Yahoo discussion groups, literally.
Wow.
And I can't even tell you how many people have just dropped off the face of the planet, and they were good writers.
Mhm.
So to bring people on your journey like this, I think is so important. And let them just I wouldn't feel so smart if like y'all hadn't been in the background like, oh my God, I liked how you did this, or I like that you put this together, or that was pretty cool. And that you've been curious as to how I've done it, not just praise me, but actually curious and want to learn about it. I think that's what made me see that I had something special, or I could do something special, is that you were coming to me and asking me, how did I do that? And then taking it and running with it. Or, you tell me, hey, I'm going to take this. Is that okay? I don't mind. I don't care, because, if it brought you some joy as much as it brought me joy, then we can learn all together, just like this, like just coming together and just trying to figure this out.
And I have to tell you guys, LaShawna, she keeps me motivated with this marketing stuff, because I just want to write. I want to write, and I for years just wanted to just hand that part off to someone else, but she helped me to see that it was important for me. Like, why am I not talking about my books more? Like, if I want somebody to read it, I need to be the first person talking about it, first person and the last person talking about it. And so seeing her constantly trying to get authors just to tell somebody about their book. And then Sylvia, you're so fearless. Like, you got us doing proposals for the library, like opening our mindsets to all of these other avenues for publishing. Like, and I just said, everybody needs people like y'all, because you open my mind. You guys open my mind. New possibilities of this one book. You can write this one book, and you can flip this book so many different ways. You can do reels for it. You can, chop it up into short stories, and I mean, all kinds of. Sylvia wrote, was it the last book? And it was so long that she released it. Was it 3 parts? How did you break it up into 2 or 3 parts?
Well, if it was the Dag story, it was 3 parts, because it was so long, because it was so many. I had to do arc 1, arc 2, and arc 3. And when I was like thinking about it, I was like, okay, there's no way people are going to sit here and read 250,000 words in one setting. There is no way. And even though, and I was even talking to the editor, I was like, well, if you could cut something down, and she was like, oh, girl, this is just too juicy. She's like, you can't. She's like, there's nothing you can take out of here that it doesn't highlight what everything else is. So I was like, okay, I'm just go with it, but I'm gonna break it down into 3 books. And yeah, for Dag's story, because it was so much going on in terms of the people involved in that story, and plus the all around Sylvia literary world was going on throughout the story, because I'm trying to bring King back into Detroit. And so I had to put that part, because she was like, that's the only part you could take out. And I was like, well, I can't, because I have to put that in there. So that's why I think, right, you got it right. Whoever, what team it is. But
and Sylvia, because I feel like LaShawna did it as well with her Kindle Vella. Because Lost in Space started over there. That's how I fell in love with the characters. And then I wanted to know more about the other people on the ship.
Right, because you have like 2 other stories, right? LaShawna,
it was 3 stories altogether.
Right.
So yeah. I'm working on getting them out there. I
was just about to pressure you. I was about to say, early next year.
Well, it was supposed to come out in 6 months, and then I got into a funk, so it didn't happen. And we can talk about that.
We'll get to it.
All right.
That goes into the next question. What makes a writing friendship sustainable over long hauls, especially as personal life and careers evolve.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your friendships, in terms of your writing friendships, all throughout? Because we just talked about, like, coming from the Yahoo discussion groups, all those people just kind of dropped off of sometimes off the face of the earth. like some of them you have it, and they had really good stories, and then you find out like some of them have passed away, and you're like, oh my God, that's terrible. But how do you?
It's sad. It's hard too, because I've been doing this since 2000. I've been online since 2000, and most of the people that I started out with, authors wise, they're not writing anymore. They kind of got burnt out on it and moved on to other things. And then a lot of our authors have passed on.
Right.
Yeah, they passed on, and then the new generation want it right now. They want it fast, and
Right.
and a lot of authors just can't keep up with that fast pace.
Right.
Our authors, when I first started promoting books, that we got a book once a year.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
And you read that book 55,000 times till the new book came.
Right.
Now this new generation,
They
they're
want
like,
rapid release. They want
they
rapid
want
release.
six books in a month, and I'd be looking at them like, what? we the old school. We were taught to work on that book for 2 or 3 years before you release it.
Yep.
And when I got on Kindavella, it was so hard because I didn't have a writing schedule.
You're
I
right.
just wrote when I felt like. I wasn't getting paid, so I was just writing when I feel like it. And when I got on Kindavella, I learned from Sylvia that you had to post every day, and I was like,
Right.
oh my God.
But even before Kindavella, like, people would be. So number one, just having writer friends is really hard, because a lot of times, in my knowledge, people would either become jealous of you and then try to tear you down, and sometimes they would say stuff and don't even realize they said something. And I'll drop you like a bad habit. As soon as you say something that's negative, I don't need, because it's not only hard to have writer friends, but even personal friends in your life that you don't want to upset your flow. I've seen people, I've lost husbands. Don't ask me where they went, because I've lost them, literally lost them. Like, you just keep going, because in this world, you don't want anybody messing with your writing chi. Like, if I'm in a story and I'm doing this and I'm supposed to be writing love scenes and everything, and you are constantly in my life with a funky attitude,
Good.
get thee away from me, Satan. So you have to balance that out with the people around you, and I don't have a problem deleting people, like just the backspace. I just go back, hit the backspace, and then lose my number, lose my social media handle, lose that. Don't even come visit me. Don't talk about me, because this writing life is really difficult to be, whether it's back in the day, or even now. It's even worse with more personal pressure that's coming upon us.
Yep.
So just getting that stuff down, and a lot of people couldn't really understand my writing religion. I would call it a religion, because I wake up writing, I go to sleep writing, and so people would come to me, well, why you come out with books so fast? Well, you know what? Don't be my friend. Don't. Why you gonna say that to me? Why should you not come up with books so fast? And that to me, that's negative. Why would you say that to somebody who is, just because you don't come out with books that fast, that don't mean you come and knock me off my horse.
That's because of the old mentality that it take you 10 or 15 years to write a book.
Right.
When I started, I started writing first, and then I did the online magazine. And so when I did the magazine, I had people that told me, well, maybe writing isn't for you. because I wasn't getting published, you
Right.
know. And I was like, wow, you literally said that to my face, you know.
Right. And they
And
will.
everybody around me, all my writing friends were publishing. They was getting published. They were getting published. Now they
Uh-huh.
probably got about 40 or 50 books to my little two, you know. And what I learned was I had to be happy for everyone. I couldn't dwell in, oh, they getting past me, they doing this, they doing that. Because at that time I was dealing with fear. I lived with fear. And so I was letting fear control me instead of getting out there. And I would have been published a long time ago. I had opportunities, but I wasn't mentally ready, and I didn't have that thick skin. So if somebody had said a couple of little words, I would have been in a ball somewhere going, they hate me, you know. And I've learned over the years that you got to believe in yourself,
I
Yeah.
know that's right.
and your work, and you can't let the people around you, you know, because when I did Kindavella, it was, oh my God, it was like pulling teeth to get people to come over to the
Right.
platform.
I
And,
know,
and,
right?
and Sylvia was blowing up, and I was like, oh, what's going
I
on?
know.
You know, and then I realized that I had picked a niche that wasn't what everybody else expected out of it, you
Uh-huh.
know, and I wasn't doing STEAM. And so I was like, oh, every time I get into this field of writing, I always pick a niche that is a pain in the butt. You know, when I first started, I was doing Christian fiction, Christian romance, and I ain't no Christian romance. Nobody read Black Christian romance. I'm
They
like,
do.
oh, wow.
They
Now
certainly
it's
do.
changed a lot. It's changed a lot now. And then when I got into writing, you know, finally getting into it, then they was like, well, we have a hard time selling Black books. And I'm like, I'm reading Black books. What? You know, it's always
Yeah.
somebody's got a negative side to the writing
Uh-huh.
thing. You know, and then when I first started, you wouldn't dare self-publish. That was an insult to
Right.
yourself.
I
You
remember
know, and
those
so I
days.
was
They
like,
looked down on you if you
it
were
took a
in.
long time for me to get. I still remember Mr. Peebles. He came to our writing group and he told us to publish ourselves, and we looked at him like he was crazy. Like, man, you done lost your mind. We was like, let him go home. But I always say, Mr. Peebles, I'm sorry.
So two things,
I
you
said,
guys.
listen to you.
So two things I wanted to address. LaShonda, you unlocked a memory for me.
Okay.
One was the fact that with the niche that I do, so I'm edgy inspirational. I don't say Christian romance novels anymore
Mhm.
because they about had pitchforks and ran me out of that because
Mhm.
I have love scenes in my books. I don't
Mhm.
shy away from.
You do open door. You have an open door, and
Yeah, I
usually
have an
most
open door.
Yeah, you know you can't do that in Christian books. Come
I
on.
know they wanted fade to black, and and I'm not upset with any of that. I'm
Mhm.
just saying that there's room for my type of story as well,
Mhm.
and so they were just so unwilling to make the room for me. So I just made the room for myself,
Right.
Exactly.
and I just was like, you know, and like you said, LaShonda, you said you got to get tough skin here because not only were readers looking at me sideways, inspirational, but authors were too. Like
Mhm.
I had got backlash from them as well because how dare I
Mhm.
dig into this new niche and talk about these taboo subjects. And I'm sitting up here. Are y'all not living in the real world? Like this stuff is happening for real. This stuff.
But I kind of I loved your stuff. I did like your stuff because it gave me because I know I'm far from Christian when I write, but I was always scared to do churchy stuff. I was like so scared. And I had a really good church novel that was Eve's Deception. And I was just so scared to really write in there because I was like, as soon as I step in the church, they probably gonna throw holy water on me when they see me in public. But reading your stuff, Sabrina, I was like, okay, I see where the line is.
Yes,
And I see how it can be crossed without disrespecting the religion.
Mhm.
And I think it's a very fine line. And I think you stay within that line. Now, if you had started calling yourself erotic Christian, that's when I would have checked you. Because I'd have been like, girl, don't be saying that oxymoron up in here.
I had a few people that I did book promotion. That's what they wanted to say, and I had, well, at that time wasn't doing erotic stuff, so I told them, I said, well, I can't promote you anyway because I don't do erotic book stuff. That takes you to another level when you're doing promotion.
But here's the thing, you guys, the same people that were giving me such a hard time, they were watching Scandal on television. They were watching some really stuff, and I'm like, what's the difference between reading it and watching it?
Right.
And Bridgerton, and I love Bridgerton, and I read so many different types of books.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just refuse to be pigeonholed into what I should be reading as a Christian. I'm going to read what brings me enjoyment. I'm not getting in trouble with God about, you know what I'm saying? And so I, write things that I want to read.
And I think that's the hardest part when you're doing writing, is that because when I did the science fiction, my editor kept saying, are you not going to put love scenes in? And I said, no, because when I did interviews with most authors, the first thing they talk about is how tired they get tired of writing the love scenes. The love scenes is what drives them the most in their books. And I wrote love scenes, and I know, but it's only so many ways you can do it. I was like,
I don't know. Listen,
stay with the sweet. That's what
Sylvia seems to find new ways to.
Sylvia is.
I'm trying to figure this out. I was like, is that doable?
Sylvia
I don't know.
Much research on those scenes.
Okay? I do research because, and it's not like I'm trying to write out the box. I'm just trying to write towards what that character desires. So that's how I lead into, like, when I did that I think I did a 7 orgasm scene, and girl, I have no idea where I pulled 7 in one night. I was exhausted.
You get the high score, huh? The high score on paper, okay.
I couldn't believe, but I'm just trying to cater towards my character more than anything, because people be like, yeah, they do ask me that. Where did that come from? How did you get her leg over the girl? I have no idea, but
you feel comfortable writing it, and that's what you have to look at. And I guess because I wrote so much Christian fiction trying to break into the field, and then when I sat down and I asked myself, what was it that I wanted to write? What did I love? If you know me, I talk about K-dramas all the time. Yeah. And one of the things I loved about K-dramas was they cater to the romance, the falling in love, and the holding hands and little kisses, and I was like, intimacy. That's what brought me into writing in the first place. My romances, we didn't have all that when I first started reading romances, and so we grew into it. And so I said, this is the legacy. What is your legacy you want to leave behind? Right. And so when I want to be Laura Ingalls Wilder. They come back 100 years later, they still reading LaShonda Hoffman books, not because there's no sex in it, but that's just what I want. I want them to want to read my books 100 years from now. And so I said, well, what kind of books do I want to write? And that's it. And, and then I told my daughter, because she was like, Mommy, we still need a little more smut. And I said, when the book calls for it, like Sabrina said, when the book calls for it, then you're going to put it in there. Right. I can say I'm not going to write a love scene ever. I can't say that because I don't know when that book comes to me. I'm writing a dragon story. And she said, I could never write a dragon story. Why would you want to write a dragon story? I said, I love dragons. They're just a good story. I love them. And she's like, that would never happen with me. And I said, well, the dragon woke me up and he said, this is my story.
Let's get to writing.
And you said something else about where you are in your writing journey now. Like just because you're not writing that now, doesn't mean you're never going to write it. For me, I used to be more graphic with some of my open door. I was married at that time. When I started writing, I was married. Okay. And so I took certain more liberties about the subject. Well, I'm single now. And so I'm in this other phase. So even though, I still write love scenes, they're not as steamy as the earlier books. because things have changed in my life, and
Now,
I just,
see, you're the opposite.
okay.
Most people, when they single, that's when they write the
That's
hottest
what I was
stuff.
gonna say. I was
I
gonna
wrote some
say,
hot
like,
stuff
you
when I
can
was
just be
single.
wide open, like, boom,
When I
let's
got
get
married, I
this
kind of
sorted
calmed down
out.
with
Reverse. It went in reverse, you guys, and so I was,
it.
and part of it is, I'm trying to practice celibacy.
Okay.
Oh,
So
you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to try to open the door and be like, "Hey, let
like,
me."
I'm still gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna reel myself back in. So, and some of my readers from the early days, they say, "Oh, I see you done switched up with them love seeds, stuff like." I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm in a different place right now. We'll see once the next marriage get here. We'll see what happens." But
Yeah, that's why I said it's about the comfort. What's your comfort zone when it
Yeah,
comes to writing stuff? One of the things that I learned from Miss Sylvia was the drama. So she's like, "If you're not gonna put something in there, then you got to hype up the drama." And I love that. I love hyping up the drama. I just smack the you in them
right.
drama. They smack somebody. So who I'm gonna smack today? So
And I try
that's
to.
what I
I
had to
do.
add.
I do incorporate because I want to incorporate drama along because I think when we all fall in love, it shouldn't just be roses and everything just runs smoothly and life just gets better. I think in my opinion, I guess from being from Detroit, it gets worse. Like the more you try to like get in love, everybody else come in your business. Like it get even worse. So just like when people say, "Oh my God, I like romances because this happens, and then she meets the guy, and then he sweeps her off her feet." No, it don't. No, it. What do you mean? I wish somebody would come. You can't even lift me, boy. Can you even deadlift? And when I'm reading like big girl stuff, because I am a big girl, so when they describe the character, this is how literal I am, and I get so disappointed when I'm reading other people's books because they'll be like, "Oh my God, this girl is like a big 250 and she 270, 250, 270." I'm like, I'm good with that because okay, you in my range, and then this 178-pound man come walking. No, lift her and take her to the. You a line Negro. You can't even deadlift 150, let alone 270. You have to lift if you can. If she 275, you gotta deadlift 350 easily. You gotta carry her from the bedroom to the bed. Whatever.
oh, that's hilarious.
I call bullshit.
Well, what you say? Be realistic.
I'm real with it, like,
but don't spend our imagination.
and that's why sometimes
She's not on top. She's not on top.
If he died, he died. Whatever. He better be ready to go to Valhalla between these legs because I know that. And that's and you're not gonna tell me because that's another thing that be getting on my nerve because you ain't thinking about suffocating this man. How are you not thinking about? I'm gonna kill you. That should be a discussion. And he should be
That
like,
is a discussion
okay.
that you should have. I had a guy that was 300 pounds. He was 300 pounds. I was in the Navy and I had went on a dating. I did a dating thing, and he came and opened. I opened the door and he looked at me and he smiled and he said, he just shook his head and I said, "What's the matter?" He's like, "Don't worry about it." We went out. We had a really nice. He was a really nice guy, but he told me that I was too little. He said, "I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt you." And I was like, "What?" I had never heard that. And he goes, "So little people have issues too." And I was like, "Oh wow!" But he didn't have the confidence to date a small woman. He was
And
like,
that is
he was like,
understandable.
"No, I don't want to hurt you." And then he's like, "I can't even see you attracted to me." And I was like, all the men I've dated have always been big guys. My husband's a big guy. I feel safe with them.
Now, Lashonda, I hope you write a book about that.
I
Yeah.
sure shouldn't have.
Like
'Cause he was
you
a
need some
sweetheart.
overweight lovers. We need more books about
We
overweight.
do about the dad bods.
Okay,
And
that's a good idea
I'm just
because
saying, pull
I
from
just
your
was
own
really.
life.
I think that he missed an opportunity because he had in his head with the woman. I didn't have an issue with. I just slammed the door in his face and say, "Oh no, heck no," you know. And he was a nice guy. We had a great time. We laughed. If you can make me laugh, we could go to the second date. You know.
He
We
wrote
could get to
himself
second
out of the
date.
story.
He did.
I don't think he was thinking about the second day. He was thinking about third base, girl.
Right. He was like, he could have flipped it, whatever. I'm a little person, you know. That was my wild Navy days. We could have tried some things.
Yeah.
He missed the opportunity. You got to do a what if book. What if, like, he took that chance, girl? That is so hilarious.
I like that idea, Sabrina, though. I will have to say that. What if? What would have happened?
I would read it. I definitely.
And so, going back to one of the things that I stated, how do you believe your writing life is affected by the friends that you keep around?
For me, I think, like I said, when I started, all my friends all got published, and I didn't. I didn't get published, and I didn't get published for probably about 20 years. And some of them I kept in contact with because of the magazine and stuff like that. But a lot of them, they doing their own thing. They writing, they're doing their own things. And I was in my little world doing my little things, you know, and I don't resent that we stopped being friends or whatever. It's just that I know that people come in your life for different seasons.
Oh yeah.
And I have a few people that have been in there from my writing season all the way through, like Sylvia I met online, and I have some ladies that I met here in St. Louis that we've from day one we've been, you know, a couple of people. But what I've learned is, like I said, to be happy for people when they get their success,
Yeah.
you know, and not be, oh, why that's not me. You know, I feel when it's time for you, God will make it a way for you.
Right.
I was listening to it was Oprah Winfrey, and she said that Maya Angelou told her to look back and see where you've come from.
Oh, that's
And I was like, oh, that is really deep, because I had my book I was at work and I had my book on my desk, and I said one of my dreams my whole life was to see my name on a book. On a book. And I looked down and I started crying, and I said, you know, my name is on a book. It's on a book. I've come a long way from when I was 9 years old dreaming this dream. Yep. And then again, when I got in the military, I was like, I'm gonna write a book. And I wrote that book for years and years. I still work, you know, and I finally got past that fear of letting somebody else see your stuff. I got past that. And then to have a book with your name on it after all these years, like, oh, wow. You know, and so I you know, and I tell my daughter, I say, I can leave this earth happy because I've succeeded in the dreams that I've had. Yep. You know, I'm not a best New York Times. I'm still wishing on that, but I haven't made that. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay that I'm not a New York best time. I got the glory one time to be the crown in Kindle. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a New York bestseller at that.
I know that's right.
You know, so it's always something that's gonna take you to the next level, you know, and you have to remember what is your why. I have to remember my why all the time. What is my why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And not worry about what everybody else is doing, and be happy for those people. I've seen some people that been in this business 20 plus years, and they're getting their cakes now. They're getting to be excited. They're getting the money that they deserve. And I'm so excited for them, because I'm like, you know, when I see somebody book turn into a movie, and I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah. Wow, we've come a long way, you know, and so that's what I look at when I'm looking at, you know, doing this and not being a resentful person, because some days you have some days and you see 0 on your dashboard and you go, well, what the heck? Why am I doing it? Why am I doing this again? You know, and then you see somebody send you a message, go, I just bought your book. You go, yay, somebody bought the book.
Right. It's like an up and down kind of thing.
It's a roller coaster, and nobody talks about that.
Yeah, and we
I've
used to
interviewed a
call it,
bunch of authors, and nobody has ever told me about that. It was a roller coaster ride.
yeah, feast and famine. Feast
Yeah.
and famine. Like
Mhm.
when it's good, it's really good. One of my books hit the first bestseller was The Professor, and it helped me rebuild my life after my divorce. Like bought a house with
Oh,
the
wow.
proceeds from that. And I'm just sitting up there saying, one book, that's all it takes, y'all. It's just one
Mhm.
book, one story. It could change your life, the landscape of your life, just one. And I'm so glad that you got the first one out, because then the second one would be a little easier to get out. You know, the behind the scenes, the pros and cons of doing it traditional versus, indie. You know all the stuff. And in reference to the question that Sylvia asked, I was the first among my friend group in my
Oh,
real life to
wow.
write a book.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not the last. Like they saw me do it,
Yes.
and it gave them courage to do it. And I, helped them. I told them what I did, a lot of mistakes, I helped them avoid. And now they're doing it and helping other people. Like keep paying it forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was the first among my friend group with a book. I mean, like, how dare I try this thing? But I dared. I just was like, well, let me just see. Let me just see if I could do it.
Right.
And I made a lot of mistakes, but I did it. I thought I had to get the traditional, get some validation from traditional publishers.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not really an author if I don't have some big publishing house
Mhm.
me. And I realized that I read over contracts. I subscribed to the different buyers beware, of all the things. I realized that there were some authors who were almost like in a slave type cycle. It was almost like they were getting these big advances, and then they had to produce under all this pressure the type of books that publishing house wanted them. If they didn't have the creative control that I wanted. And so I started, I did get with the traditional publisher, but then I started saying, well, when I would give the person, that publishing house, first refusal on a new book that I wanted to write, just a book that I wanted to do, and love the storyline, they wanted me to change so much that it was going to become this totally different story. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go the indie route with that one, because they said no. I gave it to first submission, first refusal. They said no, and I published it. It was 100K. They said it was too long, and I said, "Oh, I just believe in this book." They wanted me to change the character from a Mexican man, a Latino man, to a white man. I was like, no, I think I want a Latino man with this black woman. Like just totally. And they said, well, we're going to have to pass. And that's the book that changed my life. That book, the one that they said, no, no, no. I kept saying, yes, 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 I'll do it myself. And I did. And so for any authors who are out here listening to us, I just want to encourage them to just, however many no's you get, say yes to yourself. Always say yes to yourself, because you just never know how it's going to touch somebody's life, how it's going to change your life and the lives of other people around you.
Yeah.
What about you, Sylvia? What your writing friendships and how have it been impacted?
I think, like I said before, as soon as I felt any kind of like negativity, so I dropped a lot of people. I have, you kind of, it's kind of like the Fokker circle. You got to keep so many in your space.
Yeah.
And as soon as like you feel like, okay, this person is too much negative, and sometimes it wouldn't even be negative. It would just be, okay, you got a lot of stuff going on in your world that you need to handle first before you can come back out and join with other author friends, because that personal life can affect even other people around you.
Yep.
And if it's affecting your writing, then, and you're in a writing space and you're bringing that negativity into their space, it affects them. And then, I would, okay, well, why don't you get over here across this line? When you work that stuff out, I'm here for you as a writing friend and things like that. So compartmentalizing so that I can have a better writing life, it's always been my protective space because, being a single mom and everything, I had to shield myself from so much,
Yeah.
So I say over the years, and from Lashandra, I know a lot of people, and a lot of people say they know me, but and Lashandra, no, not a lot of people can come up to her and say, "Oh, I'm Sylvia's best friend," because she knows she can just call me up and say, "Do you know this?" I'll be like, "Oh, I don't know that girl." Do you know her? No, I don't. Because it's just like I don't consider a lot of people close friends, especially in the writing world, because you really have to protect your peace, your writing piece. You have to protect your writing world. And you really have to protect your work and all, especially in this time when a lot of people are plagiarizing you or they going to do stuff behind your back and saying that it was their idea and things like that. So I've learned how to protect myself and drop a lot of people in order to maintain my peace and success in myself, because that's where it all matters. That's why I'm so keen to, just jump into a pool like, oh, let me try this. Oh my God, it worked. Because I know, like, I'm proving it to me and my close writing friends that it can be done. And I don't mind being the token one to step out into the world and be like, oh, am I gonna get hit? Oh, I almost got hit, girl. Don't go that way. Don't go that way. But I will, and I love that. And like I said, that's what I love about having like a really close friendship with like you guys, is because I can go out there and do something, then come back and say, okay, here's the results of what I did. And I know in our group, like you guys will be like, okay, now I understand it. And you guys will either roll with it or not, or just glad that somebody put it out there. But it's like nice to know that you have friends who will be like, oh, that was stupid, Sylvia. You won't say that to me. You won't, oh, why did you even waste your time with that? Because that's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted you to say, that, okay, that was a nice try. We know not to try it. But you won't make me feel bad for doing it. And I will give you like an instance where it was this other author where, I went out there and I was like, oh my God, I've been doing this on my Instagram. I've been doing this on my Instagram and just trying to do, get a better, run and get better views and stuff. And then their reply was, but you only got a couple of people. That was their, and then I was like, why don't I just move this person above the line out of the Fokker circle?
It doesn't matter if it was just one.
Yeah, I'm doing something. I'm creating momentum. I mean, I'm not expecting them to, throw confetti at me, but dang.
A lot of people in this industry don't like to try different things. They want to continue to keep doing the same stuff. That's how we all got stuck on Facebook. And then people go, well, why? What I love is, and Sylvia's same way, she jumps on these different platforms. We just go and jump, and everybody else, why, Lashonda, why you getting on that? Why you doing that? Because it's what I tell my clients, this introduces you to new people. Facebook will show you the same crazy people over and over again, and they ain't buying a book.
And you're so right about that, because when I ran my last Facebook ad campaign, I told it, I don't want you to push this ad to nobody who's my Facebook friends. Only new people, non-friends, none of my followers. I need it for the ringtones that I was pushing to reach new audiences. Because all the people who are following me, who are friends on my Facebook page, they see me all the time talking about my stuff, and they're not clicking. Like, I see the stats. I know where it's coming from. Facebook does a great job of telling you who's clicking on your stuff, how long they're staying on your video, all the stuff.
Right.
And I'm a numbers girl as well, so I'm reading the logistics. Okay, these people, they like me, but they don't like me like that. I get more clicks on when I post something about my house or a picture of me in some new outfit than I do on my book. It's crickets when I talk about my books.
Right.
So I want to get that. If that's not my group for books, then I want to reach some new people. Like
Right.
who are my book people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's hard. You have to leave your comfort zone to go somewhere else, and a lot of people don't want to leave the comfort zone. And I found that out with when I did start doing the Kindle that my community was writers, because that's what I had built up doing the book promotion stuff.
Yeah.
And so I kept asking questions. Who reads science fiction? What's the book you read? Just to see
Right.
what they was reading. And I was getting crickets. Them posts every day would get a cricket. Nothing. Nobody was saying nothing to me. And I was like, ooh, this whole community is not into science
Right.
fiction. And so I said, well, where can I go? I need to go somewhere else. And so I got on TikTok. And then I found that TikTok, that's how I found out that if it wasn't steamy, then people don't want to talk to you. So I was like, okay, well, where else can I go? And I was just finding different places. I found a little niche on Threads. I found a little bit on Blue Sky, and just a little bit on TikTok. Mm-hmm. But if I hadn't asked the questions about it, and Facebook was showing me, Facebook will show you who your audience is.
Right.
You just got to pay attention to the stats. My audience on Facebook, they love talking about everything else that don't have nothing to do with books. You talk about anything else, they gonna blow your stuff up. You be like, what in the world?
Right.
What's
Right.
going on? But as soon as you say books, you get crickets. You be like, nobody saying
Right.
nothing. It's all quiet.
I think that's where authors lose it. It's because everybody is building awareness of their work. They're doing the social media. They're trying to do the word of mouth. They're trying to do the blog talk, but no one is building up the loyalty,
Right,
in their work. And that's where, when I'm doing all this stuff, I'm bringing out curiosity about it. I'm trying to build trust in it, and just convert them over into loyal people who are going to follow me. And once I build you up, so it's really not about me trying to build numbers. Everybody's like, oh my God, you got to go viral, but that's not really what you really, really want, because viral will help you get the premium gas. But it won't keep a drip income. And that's what my goal is getting the people that I already have and making them into loyal people who will purchase everything that I am coming out with.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing all this other stuff of sparking curiosity, I'm building trust by asking the questions, and catering to like those, okay, let's do this conversation, but eventually I'm going to say, okay, but read. Okay, you like to scroll. You like this meme, but read. Yeah, you like this movie and you like this scenario, but you should read, because what I'm trying to do is tell you to open up a book. And while you're thinking about opening up a book, open up my book. So I think when we are around, or when we're picking friends and stuff, and even for our own mental health, to go back to that, and just because we're getting frustrated about this world that we're out in, and knowing that there's low literacy rates, knowing like, oh my God, I got to make sure my book is in the right venue or anything like that. Having people around you who want to explore that option, and not just, oh, we're all friends together because we're all trying to go viral. And having that particular friendship with other authors is very important. It's kind of like what Steve Harvey say: if you find yourself the smartest in the bunch, you need a better thing of friends. You need a better circle of people, because you should have people around you who are always trying to challenge the system and grow everybody in the group. Yep. You shouldn't have just people who, I just want to see when you win, not when you lose. And I think that's what makes it hard to be author friends with people, because everybody's like just looking for you to win. That's all they want. They just want success stories in their group. And that's really not author friends. That's just a community of people who are just looking for the more awareness. And that's not what, I don't think that's what we need right now in order to make our writing life better.
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to know about the wins. Most of the groups that I'm in, when people come in there, most of the people I talk to, they're not making money with their books. When they come to me, they're not making money. So they're trying to learn how to make money. So when they're in these groups where people are talking about they're making money and they're selling, they're like, they're lying. I saw a post the other day, a lady said she made like $30,000 for the month. And every other comment said she was lying. And it's because she did it anonymously. She did it anonymously and she's lying. She lying. She ain't nobody making that kind of money. And I was like, wow. But in the morning I do a clubhouse and most of those women in there are selling books. I stay in this group because these women are selling books and I need to know that people are selling books. I don't want to talk to you. You keep saying you ain't getting no royalty checks. At least I get a little royalty check every month. I need to meet people who make a big money. This lady posted yesterday and she said that the lady made $48,000 for the week. For the week, she made $48,000.
Nice.
The lady who wrote The Help, she got a new book out, and she made $48,000 for the week. And I was like, "Can I get $1,000 for a week?" I ain't trying to get to 48 yet, but can I get, And so when
I like to know that that's
woo.
possible. Like, I want to know that it's possible.
That it's possible
to get that type of money for your books. Now, like I said, I didn't been 1,000 there. Okay, come on. Like I've had days where it was like, oh, okay, Amazon, stuff like that. And it changed my life and allowed me to change some other people's lives. But I had to. It's like you need to know it's possible. Like I go beyond my wildest dreams.
Go beyond, and then to see it. I like to see it.
$40,000 day, week, whatever. I need to know. I need to know because I need to increase my faith for myself.
Yes. When Sylvia got on
Kindle, it's possible.
She showed me one of her royalty checks, and I thank her for that because that pushed me to get on. I was like, hey, okay. And I went to Kindle and I signed up and everything. And so I didn't get my first check was $10. People were like $10. I said, I wasn't making nothing. So I'm coming for my little $10. Don't be poo-pooing on my $10. So when I went to the fiction side and got that first big check, I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, I want to see this. I want to see this every month. What I need to do.
Yep.
And I was like, and people was like, oh, you ain't making nothing on Kindle. I was like, keep on saying that. I keep my money to me.
That's right.
And so, and I think they said 48,000. I'm like, that's what I need to hear. So, because I'm like, okay, God, I want 1,000 right now, and then take me up.
I think it is possible. I think if you keep pressing it, and I've seen my numbers go up and then I've seen them go flat, and I when I was up and I really didn't appreciate it till I got down and I was like, wait a minute. But then when you go back up again, you're like, oh my God. So I don't have to stay down. All I have to do is just keep pressing and keep doing. And that's why I encourage other people, even when some people oh girl, I make no sales. They'll show me their zero dashboards and everything. And I'm like, but you got to keep doing it. You got to keep getting out there. I become a LaShonda in their life. I'd be like, you can do it. You got to wake up with a purpose in mind that I'm going to sell just one book. If you could just sell just one book or get somebody to turn one page. Just get one person to turn one page in that book, then you have gotten better than you did the day before. And then the next day, do 2 pages or 2 books. I think if you keep talking about it, right?
Just one. And I think when here's the trap that I've seen among some authors. They will get a bestseller or go viral. and they think it's going to stay that way forever. They
Right.
forget there's a value to this thing. It's feast and famine. It's roller coaster, like you guys said. And they'll start getting, feeling themselves a little bit too much to where they start looking down on that one reader, that one view, that one sale for the month.
Right.
Like, we got to stay grateful. Stay grateful.
Yes.
For every reader, every page that got turned that month, that day, whatever. Stay grateful, because people got a lot of stuff going on in their lives. They don't have to curl up with one of your books. They don't have to read your stuff. They don't have to spend any money with you at your store.
Right.
So if they choose to spend time with your characters, reading your books, whatever like that, I'm just so grateful. Like, somebody thought of me today, thought of my characters or whatever like that. Stay grateful. That's what I tell anybody. Stay grateful, because this thing could turn, it could go. And I'm seeing authors in real time, y'all, who are imploding their careers. Like, authors who are, having movies be done, and all of a sudden they're disassociating their books from the movie. Like, I am seeing some people implode in real time here. And I'm just like, okay, everybody calm down, get you some balance here and appreciate where you're at any given moment. Because a lot of people would love to be where some of these people are.
I know I was that person. I was that person who was just, like I said, having a book with my name on it. And I have to, when she said, look back, I said, you do have to look back, and you have to be grateful. And somebody, I was saying something to somebody. I said, I sold a book today. Just one book. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad.
and that's when I would drop them. Lose my number, please.
Yeah, because I talk to people who haven't sold nothing in 6 months.
Right.
And so when that's what you have to talk. That's why I said that roller coaster. People don't talk about the roller coaster. I was at the bottom of the roller coaster. So when I get up, I'll be like, yay, I'm up. Because I've been down at the bottom holding on, going, please, can I just ride up?
I know, just one. Just one.
I'm grateful. That's what I've learned. And you, like Sabrina said, you have to be grateful. If you don't be grateful, you will have a hard time at this. And we were talking about, for me, I had a hard time with, and you get into your head where you're like, I'm not selling anything. Why should I put out book 2? And that's where I was at with my book. With book 2 was that, what's the point? That's what I said. What's the point? Nobody's buying book 1. Why should I do book 2?
I'm still waiting on book 2.
I had to get out of my head. You got to get out of your head, because as a writer, there's going to be a book that they love, then there's going to be a book that they hate.
Trust me, we know.
But you got to continue on. And that's what I realized, that you got to keep making some candy. They can't buy your candy if you don't have none out there on the plate.
If you don't put the sugar in the bowl. Gotta put the sugar. So that does bring up a question that LaShonda had put out there. And she said, readers see the finished book, but what don't they see about the emotional side of creating it? And I think that's a great question for me and Sabrina. So I'll let her go first.
Okay, so the emotional side for me, because, creating a book and all these characters, it's like having a baby. This is your baby, and you're releasing it into the world, and you sensitive about your children. You don't want nobody to mistreat them or say nothing bad about them or nothing like that. But you have to have that tough skin to say, okay, yes, I'm sensitive about my stuff, but if they don't like it, I got to be all right with them not liking it. Right. And so it's like, go back to your why. Like, who am I releasing this for? It got to start with me, because this is a book I want to read. I hope somebody else wants to read it. But what if they don't? Like, I still got it out of me. I still release it to the world. And some books you may release it in this season, but it may not catch on until several seasons ahead. For instance, there are some people who are just now discovering Hanging with Mr. Cooper, who are just now discovering stuff that we grew up on. They've become classic, classics, because a whole new generation has come about, and now they're watching Family Matters, Urkel, and all of this stuff. Yeah. And Sesame Street had a long run.
Yeah.
A lot of kids grew up on Sesame Street, but we now have Miss Rachel. We now, it's a whole bunch of other people.
Right.
My grandkids still like the characters from Sesame Street.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm saying if they don't like it, I understand, but I hope that you will like it. And if you don't, I'm just going to keep writing anyway. So it's
Right.
I don't know.
And
I'm learning that.
Yeah. So with each book that I create, and this is going to sound weird because you're like, no, Sylvia, that's impossible. I am scared every time I introduce characters out there because I know, number one, they're going to have faults that people are going to either really hate. I know they're going to really hate. I know that somebody is going to say something about the characters. I hate her. I can't stand her, or can't stand him. It's usually one or the other, or sometimes it's both of them. I've had people come back and say, "Oh my God, I cannot stand either one of these people. Why are they even on paper?" But then by the middle of the book, they're like, "Oh my God, I got to find out what happens." To them. Somehow I make them care about them. And I always go through that fear in the beginning of like walking into a new classroom. Will they like me? Will they like me? Will they like me? And I think I go through the first 5 chapters just unsure, but knowing, but I have to like push that aside and get to the point, get to the scene that made me want to write these characters. Like you said, I got to remember the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I writing these 2 people? Especially when I was writing Key Touch Me. And I think that's why it took me I think I started that book when it was like 2019 or 2018 when I originally started that book. And I walked away from it because I was like, nobody's going to want to know about an alcoholic. And she already got like the same drama everybody else going through. Her boyfriend cheated with her mama. And I'm like, people really aren't going to understand. But then once I decided to jump back into that book, I think last year, I decided to just say, you know what, I'm just going to jump in there. I was really scared about addressing alcoholism because I know it's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he was groping her without her permission. So I think when I started that book, the Y2 movement had just started. So I was like, I can't bring this because people are going to come after me. But then when I got back into it last year, I was like, you know what? Their story needs to be told. And it turned out to be, I was so mad I stopped the book at a point where I had so many questions. I was like, this book is so good, but I don't know where I was going with it. I was emotional about it. I was scared. I was terrified because I was like, once people know he's an alcoholic, I'm going to have so many people come and hate me. And because I'm addressing a problem and I'm feeding into it and blah, blah, blah. I had to go through his storm and I knew I had to put that out on paper. And I was terrified that, and then I got the, my mom's been passed away for a while, but I got her voice in my head and she was like, even if you break it, you'll still be famous. And she gave me that advice a long time ago. And I kind of like been putting that in my pocket for the last couple of years and had to just say, even if I break it and people hate me for it, either way, they either going to hate it and then it's become viral or they're going to love it and it's become viral. So, I got, at least no one said I'm waiting for somebody to come on my site and just blow me up about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you wrote that. But I'm like, I'm going to do it.
Something new about you. I never knew that you are scared with introducing these characters. I never knew because you act so fearless. So
She does.
But we know that a lot of times you can be shaking in your boots.
I do it.
Still do it anyway. But and Sylvia is not saying that I needed permission, but I kind of sort of did. She made it okay for me to make my characters more flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like gutter flawed. You know what I'm saying? And I had to realize, I said, you're writing redemption stories.
Mm-hmm.
You're edgy inspirationals. They're redemption stories. So these people can't be all have it together.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
people want to see them get better. They
Right.
want to root for them. And yeah, they may hate them at first. The book I just finished on my live, Control Freak, he really was a control freak, like trying to control every aspect of almost to the point of being a bully hero. But that was the closest I had ever come to writing that type of character.
Mm-hmm.
This was an old book that I re-released, but when I started revising it, I made him even worse.
Yeah.
And
That's fun.
I felt like I had the freedom to make them worse and then try to get them together, and not being afraid to write flawed characters. And it's all through the Bible. We get the highlights of the Bible a lot of times, but you go in there and it'll just tell you, okay, this person married this person and they begot this child, but you don't know all the ins and outs.
Right.
This man had this many concubines. Like, there's some real stuff going on behind
Right.
it.
And I always wonder, like, when I do read, because I'm real about stuff. So when I see people or when I meet a character, I'm like, how did you get like that? There's always got to be a meaning. Somebody just don't wake up and they a freak. You don't wake up and you want to be promiscuous with 80
Origin story.
Right. And so like that they're at that level. And I think even when I wrote Tori and her substitute husband, like when I wrote her and she was selfish and she was promiscuous, but she was confident about it. She didn't care about it. I like that I went back and like, this is why she is like this, because we don't do stuff unless we have already been doing it already. You aren't like this, and I hate when I read characters or I see a really good story. They have a really good theme. They have a really good plot, but I don't have a reason behind the madness behind that. Like, why are they making that decision? I want my readers to go along with it, but that's the scary part, is that are you really going to go along with it of what they're going to do, or you wish they would do what you want to do? And I'm not going to do what you want them to do. I am going to do what is in their nature. And I think that's where I get scared about, because you just want them to just like them, and they don't. Like, just like them. Just hear me out. Okay, she's like this because she's like this, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And I think I do get scared about that, because you never really know what the reader is going to. And I know, like, my bull crap get on a lot of people's nerves. Like LaJonna said, a lot of readers want it like that they want that instant pleasure. They want that redemption right away. So they're looking for a change in that character or that personality within like the first to 10 chapters. And in my reality, that doesn't happen. They have to, you think they worse in the beginning when you sick and tired of them. Wait till you get by the chapter 10 to chapter 20 when I make you really sick and tired, because you really have to go do bullshit in order to get to a place in your life that is going to make you a better person. You have to really get down and dirty, or you have to really be struck down even below what you would normally get through. You got to go through the storm in order to get any rainbow. And I think that's what's wrong with readers is that a lot of authors are giving into that quick, fast, quickie kind of, oh, well, we're going to make this happily ever after within 10 chapters. And that's where I can't get on board with, because
balance here, you guys, because I think that during my years of trying to get a traditional publisher, they were like, everything they need to meet by the 3rd chapter. Well, some of my books were slow burns. I was like getting you set up with who the hero was, who the heroine was, and maybe they didn't meet by the 3rd chapter, but maybe by chapter 5 they're all in, it's some, meet cute, and I'm just, and so I always wrestle with that. why it has to be by the third chapter. It was an industry standard. And I think over the years, since I've been going the indie route, I gave myself the okay to just write it how it comes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe they'll
Mhm.
meet by the third chapter. Maybe they won't. It depends on how long the chapters are.
Right.
If I'm doing shorter chapters, which I started doing over the last few years, because people's attention spans, just they couldn't take the longer chapters. So if I'm doing shorter chapters, then they're not going to meet by the third chapter, because you don't even know who this chick is yet. You
Right.
don't know who he is yet, kind of thing. And so, not that I'm trying to tell you all this backstory about them before they meet. I do want you to know more than how she looks,
Right.
how he looks, kind of thing. And again, we're writing romance. So if we were writing some other type of books, maybe you'll start with them just doing whatever they're going to do up front. It just depends on the story. I like to start some of them immediately into the action, but sometimes it's a slow burn. And there's a place for those books, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good to know what the rules are so you can break them.
Yeah.
So you can just, you know what I'm saying? Know what? Okay, yeah, I know what the industry standard says by chapter 3, they ought to have met each other. But sometimes they met homeboy's cousin. Sometimes she met his cousin before she met him.
Right.
Or he met her sister before he met her.
Right.
Or her mom, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You got to get into it. You got to get into
together, but they're not together yet.
Right. But we know it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. And Sylvia, I wanted to say that sometimes them hating your characters keeps them coming back too, because people love to hate. They love to hate. And so I'm thinking, if they're growling, if they're scowling when they're reading, but they're still turning that page, it's like a page is a page read is a page read.
Yeah.
Whatever their reasons for keep doing it. Oh, I hate his guts. What he's doing today, I'm just saying, it's still engagement.
That's the good storytelling.
Look at it.
Yeah, that's a good storytelling. I read a book that I couldn't stand the man, and the woman and her husband got a divorce. They were getting at a divorce, and they got back together. And I told the author that I said I couldn't stand him, and I wanted her to divorce him. And he was like, you went by yourself. It was a lot of people, but it taught me as a writer that sometimes readers don't like your characters, no matter how much you make him a nice person.
Yep.
My editor tells me that a lot of times. You try to make them perfect, they ain't got to be perfect. They got to have flaws, and because I was changing some stuff up, and she's like, because everybody's not gonna like him. And they don't have to. And you have to be, as a writer, okay with that.
Okay with that.
Yeah, okay with that. I don't like them. If they don't finish the book, then you wonder about it. But if, like she was saying, most of the time they be like, "Oh, he getting on my nerve. What are you gonna do tomorrow?"
Well, I think, in my opinion, as long as I justify the character, and I stick with what the character, I bring the character story to life. Whether at the end of the day, even though, I started off scared, and then once I started listening to the characters to keep the story going, I think by the end of the day, once I'm hitting the end, and actually I'm going through that right now, once I hit the end, I know that I have brought that character's voice and story to life. I have done justice to their life and brought them there happily ever after, the way they needed to be brought to life. So even if somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh my God, this story was so good, but I just didn't like this part," I can still confidently say that I brought the right story to life for that character. And at the end of the day, I can sleep because I didn't take a shortcut just to make you happy.
And you guys, I want to say this. I refuse, my birthday was yesterday, and I'm grateful to be alive, especially after the last 2 years, all the stuff with the hurricane. But I have learned or come to the conclusion that I don't want to die with any books in me.
Right.
I want the books that are still swimming around in my heart and in my soul. I want them out. I want to leave them on the earth. That you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to take it with me.
Yeah.
And so I because when the hurricane hit 2024, I didn't take any of my books with me. I took my Bible, and I think I took a spiritual book that someone else had wrote. And when I told the person, it was like, "Oh wow, Sabrina, I'm honored, but why didn't you take any of your books?" I say, because I already know those stories.
Mm-hmm.
They're in me. You know what I'm saying? Those books I already know, and I've set up my life to where my email, I've hidden books in different email, storage. And so if I ever need to go and rewrite a story, I can go to my archives. Like, I take my books digitally everywhere I go.
Right.
I may hide them on my website, somewhere for download and make it private. You understand what I'm saying? So, and the other reason was my inventory of books, paperbacks, was in a closet that the tree fell on. So I couldn't even get them out if I wanted to. So I mean, I'm grateful that I can get in there now. But the point was, I take my books with me wherever I go. You know what I'm saying?
Your stories, right?
Those are my stories. And if I was on a deserted island and I didn't have any writing materials or anything like that, I would write a chapter a day on the seashore, knowing that the waves are going to come and erase it all. But God saw it, and I know what that story, the chapter before, was. Like, I have to get it out.
Right. I'll be writing on a palm leaf.
Blood. No one else sees it, you guys. We want people to read our stuff, but we gotta get it out.
We gotta get it out. That is so true. And that's my promise to myself, is to get it out. I had a friend that passed, Miss Yvonne, and that's what she said: "Do not die, LaShonda, with your books in your head."
Right.
And when Miss Yvonne passed, it hit me so hard, because I was like, she got her books out. I was so thankful that she got her books out, because that was her thing. She's like, I got books. She said she had more books, but I realized that we only here for a short period of time.
Right.
And so that's why I said, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? And one of my legacies is my children. I know I'm leaving them behind, but my books are my other legacy that I want to leave behind.
Right.
So I make the promise to myself that to get these books out.
Right.
And if I don't, y'all get on me.
We will.
And I would say it's kind of like the same thing. I know I have hundreds of more stories to go before I am even close to like saying, okay, well, let me take a break. But yeah, it is. I want to get all these stories out to the it. I think I don't even have to have an audience. I just want to get them out of my head so I won't do it. I'm like a serial killer. I gotta get it out, put it somewhere, or y'all might be getting my bail money together, because there's a lot of people I need to hurt at this point, and who won't give a darn. But yeah, I think I'm at the same point in that regards, that I do want to get every story in my head on paper. And I think 2025, between, I guess I'd say 2021 to 2026, that's been really transformative for me in seeing like where I want to be, where I'm going, and what I'm doing now, and how hard I am working to get these stories out. And it's really crazy, because people will be like, oh my God, you did that many books this year, you did that. But then I'm looking at them like, you still working on the same book from 2000? Are you how are you still working on that book? Like, come on. But
we can't let go.
I think, but I think with like you guys, and just being around you guys and having you guys like there, just constantly reminding me that, okay, I can keep going because they're going. And even y'all slow down, I'll be like, hey, what we doing this week? You know, what are we gonna do this week? And I already know what I'm gonna do, but I want to know what y'all gonna do, because I want y'all to be on the journey with me. And if we not, then we need to find out how we can get you back on the journey. You know, I want to be able to walk the red carpet with one of y'all. I want to be one of y'all on one of somebody's tailcoat.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
But you need that. You need that in your life. You need that, especially when you, like me, dealing with procrastination and fear and everything else. And then I see she put out another book. Oh my God. I'm over here thinking that, but I'm learning that I have to get out of because I'm my worst person, and I have to get out of me, get out of LaShonda, push LaShonda down, get on the roller coaster, LaShonda. You got to go up.
LaShonda, I'm amazed by you saying this part of your writing journey, because you are always pushing the marketing part.
Yeah.
Like, is that your safer zone?
That's what I started out with. My first book was nonfiction, even though I wrote romances. And then when I put the nonfiction out there, I had lots of confidence in the nonfiction because that's my expertise. That's what I do. But romance, you don't know. So I was like, I was scared, and I had been, like I said, most of my friends has been published for 20 years, and I've been just talking about it. I'm talking about writing a romance. I'm writing a romance. Yeah, I'm writing a romance, and I never backed it up. And so that was the scary part. When it was time to back it up, I was like, what if it's horrible? Like, Sylvia, what if they don't like my baby? And
so
they
maybe
talk about it.
I've been seeing a lot of the Christmas in July movies, and a lot of them, there are movies about some writer who needs to go, or somebody who got fired from their job, and they always wanted to be a writer, but they got caught up in corporate America, and now they're fired, so they're going to write a book. And I'm saying, just the stuff that you're feeling, that bottleneck, put it in a character. Like, have one of your characters be that reluctant writer. Get it out of you is what I'm saying. Like, pour your fears onto the page in this character. It could be a male or female, but pour it in. Just bleed on the pages. On the fear.
Her fear.
Somebody's going to identify with it and have them to overcome. I'm finding that when I put some of my own fears and stuff into my characters, it helps me process my own stuff better. And I get healed from that as I'm writing about whatever it is. Like, when I was going through divorce, and I had just found out that my then husband had cheated, the whole thing. And it's interesting to me that the person he cheated with was following my live story. I got stories to tell y'all about that. But anyway, she was using some of my scenes as
inspiration for him.
Trash. But anyway.
That's a book right there.
But I started putting stuff like that in the book. Like, I started making some of the characters more malicious and more devious because I saw it had happened to me. Someone had done it to me. And then I was so angry. Instead of me, killing somebody in my real life, I killed some characters. and the story was like, so when Sylvia was saying, y'all may need bail money or whatever like that, I understood that. I poured it into the characters.
Right.
And so having to be a character that the readers begged me to bring back from life, so I had to figure out a way to bring them back to life. But I killed him. Because I needed to get that off of me because I was so angry and bitter and all the things, and it helped me post divorce to just heal and recover. Like, life goes on.
Right.
It goes on.
Right.
I have to remember that. I got to remember that. I some stuff I use, but most of the stuff no. But I think I need to. Maybe that's the fear into my writing more.
Well, because most times in my stories, they are what if. What if I had made that decision to do that thing? I think when I was writing Daddy's Girl, and it was that scene at the airport when the guy comes up to her and says, "Hey, I'll take you, back to the hotel," and she's like, "Okay, let's go." I had that incident where what would have happened if I jumped in that car with that stranger? What would have happened? And all the other crap. But I think pouring myself into those what if situations, or when I was writing Secrets, Lies, and Family Ties, and I wanted to talk about just the point of being a parent and hating the child you brought in the world. I needed to address those things. I needed to show how that bitterness and that hatred, even though you may not ever tell that child that they feel it, and they know it, that there's something about them that you can't stand. And it's not because they came into this world, it is because who they came from. And I think it was so bringing those stories to life, like, yes, you are bleeding on the page. And I think that's where my fear would come from, is because I know I have to put a little bit, you always got to put a little bit of yourself in there. You always have to become those characters in some kind of way in order to bring them to life. And yeah, you're going to have that fear of, oh my God, people are going to see this and think this about me. Or they're going to know that I have this deep, dark secret. Even when I go to places and people be like, oh my God, Sylvia, you're so freaky.
Right.
Well, it's not that I'm freaky. It's just that, my brain will start getting into that character's story. And then this is how their story plays out.
But you did it so well that it seems like it's coming directly from a lived experience. I had to check on Sylvia one time, LaShonda. I had to check on Sylvia. I said, "You okay?" I said, "You are writing a lot of stories about women who don't even have bus fare. What is going on with you?" I had no idea she was going through stuff, but I was seeing a pattern of her writing about women who were just down and out, just didn't have any support system, so I had to check on the girl, like, what I need to do, share some more of this stuff. I couldn't buy every book because I was struggling myself. But I was like, I need to share some stuff. We got to get her some more money.
But it was my therapy. It was like, okay, if I had this chance or this opportunity, or what if I got into this situation, and what would I do in this situation, and how would I get out of this situation on my own, not just waiting for some save-a hole to come in and sweep me off my feet, but how can I? And I think that's why I kind of like my stories, because I'm not waiting for that knight in shining armor. It's a nice cherry on top to have that male support system. It's nice. But it's nice when you can you can crawl out of that hole yourself, and then like, okay, let me help you get up, after you have got up, partially yourself, but yeah. And then I saw that there was a need where usually there were characters, they already got their crap together. Everybody don't have their crap together. Everybody, and a lot of writers don't show that. And I'm not trying to say, okay, well, she got to be a hood chick and she got to be struggling and she got to be on food stamps and things like that. As you can see, a lot of my characters are not in that situation. They are in a situation where some horrible thing has happened to them and got them either below poverty line, where they just desperate for, if they just had an extra $1,000, then they could get over this hump. Or if they could just get their degree, and without all this family drama, they could get where they need to be. They just need that kind of encouragement, or to be able to learn how to let things go. And I don't see that a lot. And I've gone through it, and I want to know, okay, I was in that situation. How did I get myself out, or how would I wish myself out of it? And that's where the stories do come from. Is I wish and hope, and I want like somebody else to pick up this book and say, "Oh my God, I'm catching the bus now," or I'm homeless right now," or I'm hating my kid right now. What do I do? And this is how it starts, you know, where that fear, a little bit of me is in that story, but it's gonna come to redemption. People are gonna get their just due if you just hold on to the faith that things can get better. And that's what I hold on to when I'm writing my story. Even though I'm putting them through it, I literally am standing on the sideline like, girl, just if you hold on, if you just hold on, it's going to work out. And that's what I want, like, readers to walk away with, knowing like it's gonna work out eventually. You don't want to throw the book across the room, but
just go pick it back up, throw it, go get it.
Right, just go get it, and then it's gonna work out. But yeah, I just hope that. So in regards, though, Lashonda had a lot of good questions, and I think we're gonna save those for the next time.
Right.
She did have a lot of writing questions that she had, and we're going to address those. But I think that focusing on like the mental health and everything was really good for us. So with that, since I addressed like what do you hope readers walk away with on your stories? What do you hope? Or we'll start with Lysandra. What do you want readers to walk away with after they read your stories?
That's a good
I know.
I'm going to say hope too. I want them to believe in love, to come away from, you know, that you can find your soulmate, and you're going to have your ups and downs in that. But at the end, you're going to be together. So I believe in love. And so I want people to come away from that hope. Most of the people I know don't believe in love anymore. And so I want them to find hope in love again.
Yeah.
Aww. Okay. And Miss Sabrina?
I co-sign to what Lashonda said. I want them to come away with believing in love again. I'm having to believe in love again myself. Because I feel like I have at least one more marriage in me.
Okay.
And so, you know, believe in love, but I'm also leaving enough breadcrumbs within my stories to where I hope that they'll be curious about not just the love part, but the agape love, like their relationship with God. You know, whatever little bit I can put in there, and I don't do a lot of preaching and stuff in my books, but I put enough in there, these edgy inspirationals, to where I want to stir people up to make them curious. These are real people with real situations going on, and they had a come to Jesus moment, or a Damascus Road moment. Like, it can happen to anybody. Something happened and it changes you forever.
Right.
And you're never the same again. And what are you going to do with that? And so here are some suggestions, you know. So I want to leave them with a thirst and a hunger for more love, more of God's love, just more.
I like that. That's cool. So we're going to end it here. And everybody, we're going to start with Sabrina. Say where people can find you and your books.
All right. So you can find me on Facebook, Sabrina Frazier. You can find me on my WordPress blog. I'm there the most. And that's bridgesandchannels.wordpress.com. My books can be found on Amazon.com. It can be found on PayHip, and you can buy directly from me.
And what are you working on right now?
So I just finished a story, one of my live stories, released the ebook form of the book. It's on Amazon right now. I am going to take a few weeks off, and in September, I will start another live story to finish a series that I started a few years back. Popular by reader demand, they want me to have a book for all the brothers in this series. And so I think I'm on brother 4. This will be brother 4.
Oh, okay. Okay. And Miss Lysandra, where are you at? Let's.
I'm on LaShondaHoffman.com. You can find me there. I blog on there. I share my newsletters. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I think that's all of them. So you can find, I am on social media. I love social media, so I'm on all places, and you can find me there. I am currently working on a book that I had forever, and it's a baseball romance, and I'm on chapter 20, so I got to go to 40. So I'm halfway there to revision. So I'm excited about that. And my second book in the Love and Space series hopefully will come out if I can get it before the end of the year.
Oh, the end of the year. Wow, that's a good one. Because
it's already done. I just have to revise it and get it edited. So I just say that. So.
Okay, we're gonna be pushing you. We're stressing you out.
Okay.
Okay, so I am Sylvia Hubbard. You can find me on sylviahubbard.com, and then my social media handle, which is right here, Sylvia Hubbard 1, and you can find me on almost any social media. I'm like LaShondra, wherever you come up, I'm usually there. I have a newsletter as well, and right now I am on the last chapter. Actually, I am trying to finish up the last chapter of my live story, which is his substitute wife, my best friend. I know you guys are tired of my substitute series. But yes, this is his substitute wife, my best friend. I'm on the last chapter, and then I'm kind of with Sabrina. I'll be starting a new one in September 1st. And also in November, I'll be coming out with part 2 of Derek's story of Desire's Tryst. And then this book actually that I'm doing live will actually be published wide by January 1st. So by this year, I'll be finishing up 2 more books, and that'll be 5 books this year that I've published and all. So I know that's cuckoo, but
that's good.
But I'll be starting my new book, Marry Me, in September 1st. So yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. We're going to wrap it up. We went like, half an hour over? Yeah, half an hour. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good for a first time.
Yes. We'll
makes a nice life.
Long-winded.
Bye, everybody.
So yeah, we're going to try to do this again next month about the same time. And this was a good day, so we'll be probably doing it on the next third Saturday of the month. So we hope you subscribe to one of our channels and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye, guys. That was so cool. Okay, let me go back to it.